So what really makes a great leader? It's not just one single thing. It's the ability to recognize that every person and every single task is different. In this explainer, we're going to dive into a framework that teaches you exactly how to adapt. Situational leadership.
Okay, let's start with a little thought experiment. I want you to think back to your very first job. You probably needed clear, step-by-step guidance, right? And a lot of feedback. Okay, now fast forward a bit to a role later in your career. You're the expert, you're confident, and what you really want from your manager is just autonomy and trust.
See, the thing is, the best managers, they just get this. They instinctively adapt their approach based on who they're talking to and the task at hand. But, and this is a big but, a lot of leaders fall into a really common trap of just using one single default management style for everyone, in every situation.
And this isn't just a theory. According to the legendary leadership expert Ken Blanchard, the co-author of The 1-Minute Manager, there's a huge disconnect here. He argues that leaders are basically missing the mark half the time because they fail to match their style to the situation.
And yeah, the data totally backs this up. Turns out, studies show a pretty staggering 54% of leaders rely on just one leadership style, no matter what's going on. It's like they're trying to use a hammer for every single problem, whether it's a nail or a screw.
All right, so if that one-size-fits-all thing is a problem, what's the solution? Well, it's a flexible and really powerful framework that was developed back in 1969. It's called Situational Leadership, and really, it's all about making sure you have the right tool for the right job.
So this was developed by Paul Hersey and Ken Blanchard. And the core idea, it's actually beautifully simple. There is no single best way to lead, period. Instead, a leader's effectiveness really just depends on their ability to adapt their style to what their team members need in that specific moment. The real key to making this whole model work is being able to diagnose an employee's performance readiness. And listen, this isn't about their overall value as a person. It's super specific. It's about their readiness for one particular task. It's a mix of two things: their ability, their skills and knowledge, and their willingness, which is all about their confidence and motivation for that one job. Think of it this way. A fantastic writer might be perfectly able to create a budget, but they might be totally unwilling because, they just don't feel confident with numbers. Okay, so you've diagnosed their readiness level. Now what? What do you actually do? Well, the model gives you 4 distinct leadership styles to choose from, one for each readiness level. Let's dive in and take a look. All right, this table right here, this is really the heart of the whole model. Let's just walk through it together. So on the right, you've got the 4 readiness levels. Let's start at R1. This is someone who is both unable and maybe a little insecure about the task. So what do? You match it with Style 1, or S1, telling. It's highly directive, very clear. Now for R2, the employee is willing, they're confident, but they're still unable. Here you use S2, selling or coaching. You're still giving high direction, but you're also giving a lot of support to build them up. Next is R3. Now they're able, but maybe they're unwilling or insecure. So you dial back the direction and ramp up the support. That's S3, participating. And then you've got R4. This person is able and willing. They're confident. Here you get to use S4, delegating. Low direction, low support. You basically trust them to run with it. The real art here is learning how to move between these styles as your team member grows and changes.
So what's so powerful here is the contrast. Just look at the difference between S1, directing, and S4, delegating. On one end of the spectrum, you, the leader, are super involved, telling them exactly how to do something. But on the complete other end, you're setting the vision, the what and the why, and then you step back and trust your team to figure out the how on their own. The skill is knowing when to do which. And mastering this isn't just about memorizing a chart. It's really about building some key qualities in yourself. A situational leader has to be flexible. You're always adjusting. You've got to be a great listener to figure out where someone's really at. And of course, you need solid coaching skills to help people move from one level to the next. And all of this really brings us to the main takeaway, the most crucial point of all. Your natural leadership style, your preferred way of doing things, well, it doesn't matter as much as you think. Effective leadership is not about you. It's about being a diagnostician, constantly adapting to serve what your people need in that exact moment. So this leaves us with a final question, and this one is for you to think about. What's your natural go-to leadership style? And more importantly, can you think of a time when you need to consciously shift that style to better support someone on your team and really help them succeed?